What's a hobby that's dying in popularity? I'm a coin collector, it's dying. Ham radio. I remember as a kid listening to my dad's radio and him always having a good time and genuinely enjoying a good rag chew. I got my license and tuned into some of the local repeaters. Found some nets with the most depressing things I've ever heard. People talking about their terminal illnesses or how prescription costs are killing them. Stamp collecting. It used to be a huge thing but not anymore. Probably because of the rise of email, very few people send letters anymore. They have them at estate sales all the time for super cheap. Model rocketry. When I was a kid, we all built and glued and fired off model rockets with rocket engines and stuff. Postcard collecting. I buy a postcard of each place I visit. Some places I have visited in the world, very hard to find a postcard. Hardest country, as we're only here for a day on a cruise, Dominica. Slot cars. I'm surprised this hasn't come up, but China, crystal collections. Another one would be sterling silver, tea sets, cutlery, etc. In the UK it is 100% croquet. I know, what a cliché. When I was younger everyone had a croquet set and it was a great way to enjoy time with friends on a summer day in the garden, whereas now I don't know anyone that still owns one. Maybe a strange one, but this question got me thinking. Model trains. There is a store in our town square that has been there for like 50 years that specializes in model trains. It's called a train and toy store, but there are almost no toys there. The store is interesting to walk around in, if you are not claustrophobic, but he must not sell very much because he can't pay the rent anymore. He is closing and moving out of town to some building he owns. Again, the stuff looks cool, but I have never seen anyone buy anything. Geocaching. Which is weird because I still do it sometimes while biking around. But caching apps rarely alert me of any finders in the apps now. I put $20 in what used to be a super popular cache that people would visit daily like 15 years ago. I later turned, about 6 months later, and the same items including the $20 were in there. Pen pals. As a teenager, I loved writing letters to new people and receiving letters from all over the country and the world. Everything is instant now, but nothing beats that feeling of getting a letter in the mail that is specifically for you, that is not a bill, ad circular, and comes from someone that genuinely wants to brighten your day. Coercion. Beanie Babies. Historical reenacting. Folks no longer want to play dress up in itchy wool and educate folks on whatever period was their jam. Its heyday was late 90s when you could find a group that did just about any period you could imagine. Collecting all 50 U.S. state minted quarters. I remember there used to be TV commercials selling you fancy cardboard with holes in them to help you collect them all. Lol, oh how times have changed. Building model airplanes. Wingsuit flying used to be really popular, but then many of them died and it quickly fell out of popularity. General aviation. Being a private pilot. A series of lawsuits against plane manufacturers combined with insane certification requirements for airplanes and parts have made it so that buying new planes or replacement parts is ludicrously expensive for pretty much anyone earning less than $500,000 per year. Old used aircraft from the heyday of the 60s to 80s had been filling the void to an extent over the years, but they are starting to get really worn out and people feel less and less comfortable flying them as time goes on. And unfortunately there's just no replacements as they age out. As an example, a brand new Cessna 172 in 1969 cost $12,500, about $90,000 in today's money. Today, a 2021 model would cost around $400,000. Indoor roller skating rinks. Edit. Skating has become popular, yes, but weirdly the number of roller skating rinks seems to be going down. The 4 within 25 miles of me closed down over the last 15 years. I don't know of any new ones and I'm not sure where to go in New England to find an operating rink nowadays. Meanwhile, there's lots of private outdoor groups. It must just be too expensive to have the square footage to support a roller skating rink in an urban area. Flying kites. Never see that shit anymore. Flying radio-controlled helicopters and airplanes. Why would someone want to deal with all the hassle of flying a model helicopter that is insanely difficult to fly, when they can buy a DJI drone that has a first-person video stream, records video in 4K, and can fly around by itself via GPS? Yo-yo. This might be a bit controversial, but since I do this, I'll mention it because that's how I feel. Playing drums. Real drums. MIDI is making us obsolete. Don't get me wrong, there are still applications for live drums. Especially if you want the groove or feel of a live drummer. But bedroom music production has just skyrocketed even more due to the pandemic. And not everyone has enough space for a full acoustic kit. Tatting lace. Bridge. Super complex game, has layers and layers of rules, and it's dead. Drag racing, the vehicle kind. A major track in Georgia just got sold because of a local battery plant is being built nearby and the houses around it skyrocketed in value. Since there was confusion, the plant apparently has 50k jobs, so all local residential areas spiked for families moving here for the job as it's only a few minutes drive but far enough away that it isn't an eyesight either.